Hi there, welcome to part 2 of my work for Beneath the Waves, which is an Artstation challenge. I don't usually do challenges, but I just thought I'd do this because it fits into what I want to do at the moment. And also with my 3Z universe, and also I'm enrolled in a course by learnsquared.com by Concept Architecture with Maxim Zhestov. So that's to get my skills, refine my skills, keep my skills up with the latest 3D graphics and things. It's really important to do that because you can soon get out of touch. And then you go, like I know people like that, and they just moan and they say that things like they're too old and they don't want to do it anymore. And it's often due to basically not upgrading your tools. And when you upgrade your tools and your techniques, keep them up to date, then you always feel really energetic to do stuff. So anyway, what I've been doing is I've been collecting some images around where I'm living at the moment because I'm doing a contract in North Devon. So this is Ilfracombe. I think I showed some of you these in the last video, these organic forms and the boxes and these nice patterns. So it's just getting source material for the Beneath the Waves concept environment that I want to do. So with the Beneath the Waves concept environment, I want to do an actual structure in the water, and also with this really cool course, he tells you how to make a 360 environment that you can look around with VR. So I'm wanting to get into VR. I'd recommend at this point in time you should try and look at VR because I think it's the way of the future, and it's a 360 environment rather than just one single image. Something that appeals to me anyway. So that's basically the initial photographs I looked at. Let's go to the next one. So these are images that I found online to do with the sea. Obviously that's just a grey beach, but I quite like the fire. Can I zoom in? No. I quite like the fire element here. Sort of the warmth, and then the cold sort of North Atlantic seascape. It looks like the North Atlantic or somewhere cold, perhaps in North America or somewhere in the winter. And then this is a diving ROV pods thing. Nice designs there. These are some rocks. I looked at deep sea diving free diving, where you hold your breath, and this is in Iceland, believe it or not. So I wanted to find a place where the colors are cold, because I want to, as you see in some concept drawings I'm doing at the moment, I want the structure to be in the water, but in a sort of colder environment, not sort of your typical bluey Caribbean Sea, or where I'm here down in Devon at the moment. It's always Caribbean blue kind of color in the summer. I want it more of a colder, like a sort of North Sea. We have the North Sea between Holland and Britain. That kind of grey, but sort of grey blue, which is still beautiful, but it's not a cliche. I think that's from Minority Report. I like the glowing water here. So the environment, I forgot to say, the environment that I want to create is kind of a city, because as many of you know, I do imaginary cities, and I'm doing the 3Z universe. So often with the 3D universe that I'm doing, the images and the designs are kind of city-based. So I'm making up a city basically based sort of kind of just beneath the waves. Not really, really deep, but I want it so you can see the light, and perhaps some of the structures are emerging, but I want it sort of like that. This is a nice view with, like what shall we say, an undersea dwelling unit or a pod unit, and you can see the nice gnarly effects on the outside with the seaweed. So it's the ocean almost is claiming this design back to nature. This one I liked. This image I didn't take these, by the way. These are online images, which are fine for reference. I mean, as long as you don't use the images in your work, unless it's Creative Commons, it's fine for reference. I like things like that. The two, that's just control, and I can't control and Z, but I like the big numerals you get on engineering structures or buildings, or things like that. And vehicles. And this is nice. This is a view from inside. So I'm going to try and do two images. I'm going to do one image from outside in the sea, and then one from the inside. So this is giving really good ideas for us. The window showing the luminosity that you get from the outside when you're quite close to the surface. Let's just close that. So that's the end of that one. Let's go to the next slide. So here in the course that I'm doing, you're encouraged to look beyond the course, the subject matter that you're trying to concentrate on. So here's one of my favorite buildings, Expo 67. So I used to sketch that a lot when I was at some point when I was over in Montreal in Canada. I really liked the building. It's almost like something you'd more likely to find in Europe. You wouldn't expect something like this so much in North America, in a way. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's kind of European. But I suppose Montreal, and well, especially Montreal, is kind of a European. Some people say it's the most European city in America. So yeah, I really like the box units there. And then we got another design that probably is influenced by this, because this is by the famous British conceptual architect Thomas Heatherwick, and he's got a load of boxes going on there. So it's just looking at ways that I can get influenced by these structures and apply them to the 3D environment I'm doing. And I like this structure, the hexagons, and how the light shines through. When I was about 17, yeah, I was 17, in 1990 or something, early 90s-ish, I did this sketch, I think I talked about it in the last video. My auntie still got it on the wall, and it's this big cavern with these hexagon structures that hold back the sea, and you can see sort of dolphins and fish behind it. It's quite a neat idea when I was that young. I like this. This is some workwear or something. It's I really like the numerals here and the bright contrasts. So thinking about not having that perhaps on a uniform, but on an underwater pod-like structure. That's and also in the course, and also I like to do micro stories for each of my 3Z Universe artwork. So I'm just putting my left hand down near the radiator because it's a pretty cold night. I'm in North Devon, as I said, doing a contract, and I can see a really nice view outside of the sea, but it's really cold as well. Suddenly winter's kicked in here more than usual. Usually in Britain our winters are kind of mild up until Christmas, and then they get a bit cold, then it's spring. But this time it seems to be different. So these are nice structures from Japan, Expo 70. I think it's in Osaka, correct me if I'm wrong. Really nice structures here, and then giving me ideas about the underwater sea. But anyway, as I was saying, I think I forgot what I was saying, but as I was saying, in the course, and what I'm trying to do is make a micro story with the artwork. So the micro story with this is basically, the 3Z universes in the near future. There's been problems, the usual sort of stuff. It's apocalyptic. There's been a war. There's sort of pollution issues, UV rays, ozone layer issues, and I want these units to have been developed in the near history, sort of like 5 or 10 years ago in the near future, if you see what I mean. And these units were sort of are going to be for people that can sort of dwelling housing solutions. So now, when we have sort of social engineering, as it were, we have the government or council says, oh, we need to create these blocks of houses to house this certain population, this demographic. So I'm projecting these sort of things that often went on in the 50s or so. Oh God, it's a pop-up. In the 50s and 60s, and then it's like a development, sort of the government or the world government sort of developed this thing to go under the water. I'm not explaining this very well, it sounds a bit crazy. But anyway, in the story, the units are a kind of a success story, which I say that's unusual for kind of social engineering, and these houses are lived in and enjoyed by families and remote teleworkers. And I think in the structure, so it goes submerges under the sea, and I think people can travel by ROVs, or perhaps helicopter things, or perhaps the ROVs, because it's submerged, the ROVs come out to the surface, then they convert into a helicopter and then go off. So lots of exciting things and imagination like that. So this is the walkie-talkie, if anyone recognizes that in London from this photograph, and I like the light glinting here, and also underwater we can get slight glints of light there as well. Nice blue sky as well. This is the Opera House. This one here is the Opera House in Reykjavik. So I was in Reykjavik last year in the summer. It's a really impressive building. Reykjavik's quite a small place, so this building is quite sizable. It's probably one of the biggest, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, but it seems to be one of the biggest structures in Reykjavik, and it, one of the structures that feels like a big city, whereas the rest of Reykjavik is quite a small place, a really lovely place, but it doesn't feel like it has big structures, whereas this opera house really does have a prominence, and it's on the seafront, and it's made of the windows are made of these hexagonal frames with the glass in, and then coloured glass. It's beautiful. I'm sure it must be beautiful in the winter months as well as any there in the summer. I was in Reykjavik for a few days, going in and out when I did an art residency in the northwest of Iceland called Isafjorda. I was actually working quite hard. That's where the 3Z universe came about during this residency. I made the floating city, if you can check that one in one of my blogs, and that's where it came from. But I was working quite hard, and I was working in the Fab Lab, so I didn't actually have so much time to explore Iceland. So I'd like to go back there one day and explore the whole island. So many places in the world to see, isn't it? And this is just concentric circles, which this is forgot what it's called, but this is a building in Birmingham, Birmingham in England, not America, and it's made of lots of circles. It's there was a big thing in Birmingham called the Bull Ring. I think I've only been through Birmingham very late at night, so I don't really know. But it's the Bull Ring. It's like a very 50s concretey architecture thing, and I don't think it's very popular. I think the design was quite interesting, but it got pulled down, and they built this new fantastic building instead. And I think that's done by an architect called Future Systems, which I used to like as a student in the late 90s when I studied interior design at Edinburgh College of Art, but my lecturers didn't really like Future Systems, so there's lots of fun and things like that in those days as a student, being really inspired by these kinds of architecture, and then these fossilized lecturers didn't like it. It's just idiots, right? Anyway, let's go on. So okay, and let's go to the next one. Yep, so this is the first of the drawings. So in the concept architecture course, you're encouraged to make lots of drawings. I'm not gonna draw in this drawing, but I decided to do it in traditional pen and ink. So in the course there, here goes the church ringing bell. It's very rural here. It's not my usual place. I like futuristic places, but it's got a charming little church down there. I'm sure many Americans and people like that would love it here. So this is the structure, just traditional drawing, but in the course he does it in Photoshop, but I just prefer traditional drawing, so it's the way for me to get the ideas more. It feels more immediate and raw, and I draw every day anyway. One of these I'm going to put on Instagram. So that's another one. So these are, again, pod ideas, a bit too conventional for my liking. It's just whatever comes through my mind when I'm doing this, and I gave myself I think it was an hour to do loads of drawings. Just put on some cool music, some electronic music or something like that, or some modern classical or jazz or funk or something, and just really get into the drawing. And you've only got an hour to come up with these drawings, and then I choose the best ones. Whoops, gone a bit wayward there. So these are sort of floating pods just below the surface with lights, and then you can see people in, and sort of getting the idea of scale, and then these weird symbols that often appear in the 3Z universe. It's kind of like a futuristic semiotic language. Yeah. Things evolve and images and that sort of thing. More about that in another time, I think. And these are sort of meant to be cables with lights on, so it's kind of like strands, but you get jellyfish, bioluminescent fish and things, and they have these strands and then they glow. And then this is using cubes, kind of influenced by Expo 67. Again, these housing units just below the surface. And as with this, you imagine just the surface with, as you'll see in the final image, which is getting a bit worrying now because it's only about 2 weeks, but the final image will have sort of light dappling on these on whatever structure is below, and I foresee the structure going down, down, down. So when you look down with the 360 thing I'm going to make, the structure sort of gets darker. So it goes into the abyss, which is that film from the late 80s or the early 90s, and then the structure will go up. So there's that as well. So I just want to make it look really interesting, really futuristic, really cool, and then fits into my 3Z universe. And then I'm going to do a print for it for the product thing I'm making. But at the same time, the 360s will add another dimension. So say if I'm doing an exhibition, I've got one of my prints that I'm making here. So I'm making the real print, the 3D print. This is for another piece of work. So I'm just kind of going to airbrush this actually. So this is just a base layer. But you could have the sculptural sort of film set model stuff in a gallery, which I plan to do. And then inside you can have a 360 of the interior. And you can put on some VR goggles or the mobile phone solution ones. So at the moment I'm just doing 360 balls, but in the future it'd be quite good to work with game engines so you can actually move around. There's some really cool stuff people are doing in VR. They're also using programs like Tilt Brush and making 3D graphics in VR. It's amazing. 3D cities and stuff. I think there's a Russian girl, and if you type it in, it's like, I think it's with Tilt Brush or something like that, and she's making a really cool futuristic city with that. Just using, rather than the screen, we're just clicking, but she's just doing all this stuff. It's like a sculpture. Did I talk about that? Yeah, sort of like walking today. So the course is about inspiration from nature as well. So this is I really don't know what they're called. They're like a plant, the bits at the end, and they come out, and so it's like they're all connected to a central core. And then did I do that? Yeah, I've got 2 of those. Oh no, I went back. Haha, yeah, sorry. So that's another one. I didn't like this conversation. It's a bit boring. Composition, not conversation. But this line here was quite interesting with the sort of lights. So it's strands, beads of this sort of lit up organic stuff. Some cubes to juxtapose the spheres. And then finally, just an amoebic structure, breaking it down to a simple structure. And there you go. So it's really important. The course emphasizes that I'm doing, but it's also important. I always do this anyway. So I kind of do this, but the course is good because it helps me concentrate and gives me new technique ideas from someone that's, does high level 3D graphics and stuff. You should check his work out. It's really cool. I'll go back to, where is it? I hate doing this because then you start opening up all these windows. Yeah, I'd recommend the course. It's Concept Architecture with Maxim Zhestov. So that's all, folks, for now. So the underwater competition for Artstation finishes in, I think it's December the 11th. So now it's December 11th, 2017. So this is it's not December. It's November the 26th, 2017. So I've only got a few weeks. And because I'm doing this contract in the Fab Lab, I'm really going to have to work all evenings to get this done. But, it makes life good, doesn't it? Aims, goals, working, achievements, disachievements, that sort of thing. But anyway, so thanks very much. So now it's time to do my usual end of speech spraff. So if you want to check out more of my 3Z Universe work, go to my website, jamesabelart.com/blog, and then you'll see all the posts about my 3Z Universe over the last nearly a year now. You can also check out my other art there. If you want to sign up to my newsletter, you can do it there, or you can check out my new landing page, which is www.3zuni.com. So it's 3zuni.com, and then you can check out some of the work there. And if you sign up there, you get a free mystery 3D print and it's a digital file. I'm not going to send it to you because it would cost a lot of money, especially if you're in, say, Australia or something, or Brazil. And also a small card, 300 DPI of one of my prints. So you can print that out for your own personal use, and then you can also get the 3D print model going as well. And then you can paint it as well. So if you do that, please let me know. I'll be able to see your email, and then I can ask you if you want to show people what it looks like when you've printed it and painting it. So it's quite fun as well. So thanks very much, and remember to subscribe also to this YouTube channel for all my 3's the Universe work, more stuff as well, and working as I go in the behind the scenes for whatever I'm doing at that particular moment in time, be it 2017, be it a few years ago in 2014, or be it a few years in the future, hopefully, if the world doesn't end because of conspiracy theory people. Not saying the conspiracy theory people will start the end of the world, but they might be correct, but I doubt they are. Yeah, good book to read actually. I don't think they still make it, but it's The Rough Guide to Conspiracy Theories. So you know the people who do the rough guides. There's one called The Rough Guide to Conspiracy Theories. Great stuff. Most of it's debunked, but it's really fun. I want to believe, but who knows. Okay, bye for now. Have a good night and keep warm if you're in a cold climate like me, or if you're in a hot climate. I still feel sorry for you because it's probably too hot as well. So extremes, you know, middle of the extremes good, end of extremes can be good, but can be uncomfortable as well if it's too hot, too cold. So thanks very much, and I'm going to go and watch a movie on Amazon Prime, I think. Bye for now.